Welcome back, Tacoma fans. This is going to be a comparison video. Hopefully you can look past the dog barking. Everyone else here in the neighborhood is complaining as well. But this is a comparison video for taillight guards for the second generation Tacoma. So you see I have three here. I decided to go all out and buy three different brands. And sadly I paid for all these myself. These are from Amazon, so returning should be quite easy. And I'll be returning at least two of these sets here. But what I wanted to do is take a look at these and see how they work and how the different brands compare. And if there's any difference, would one work better than the other? Now the first thing I've noticed is that no matter what the brand is, and this one is, for what it's worth, says MaxMate. This one says TAC, and this is the only one that I would consider a real brand, and this is Body Armor 4x4. And I bought this one because I have a Body Armor 4x4 front bumper, so I thought I would see how that would compare. Now the first thing I'm noticing here with these taillight guards is they all appear to be exactly the same construction and exactly the same design. They're both going to have these two tabs right here, and those are going to bolt into where the whole taillight assembly goes. And there's this little tab here on the side that's supposed to clip into the for the front part of the taillight. And really that's about it. The shape of all these is exactly the same. Even some interesting little details like this little, I don't know what we'd call that there, a little rivet. There's one that is right there. There we go. So one that is right there, and another one that is right down there as well. And you can see that these various tabs here are welded on. So my concern here was, would these fit? As I have these rear lights here that I've mounted on my Tacoma using these really great mounting brackets from Cali Raised LED. And so would that work with these? So I got the three different brands, but as you can see they are all the same. Look at the construction, look at the thickness of the metal. In some cases the welds might seem to be a little bit nicer than others. I don't know if that's just kind of random. The big difference here is the Body Armor 4x4. As you can see, it's got a very different kind of finish to it. It's this, I guess, not quite as shiny, a bit more matte, but not really, and it's very kind of thick textured finish. That's going to be the big thing that you see here. Even with that, the design, the size, all that is going to be exactly the same. So structurally I can't see any difference between these three. So I thought maybe for Body Armor 4x4 that this was designed to match so all their other accessories. Here's my bumper, and here is this this taillight guard, and they're kind of similar but not exactly. This is newer and shinier. Of course this bumper is older, has a lot more wear on it, and maybe at some point these will kind of wear down and get less shiny and look more like this. But I guess the texture is similar. Again, not quite the same, but that's what you get right there, comparing these products, which are from the same brand. Again, that's Body Armor 4x4. Since I have all three of them here, the big question is, what is the price? Does that make a difference? And the answer is certainly it does. The MaxMate here, their price was $71 for the pair. These TAC brand was $94 for the pair. And then the most expensive prize goes to Body Armor 4x4, which is a bit over $115 per pair. So if they're all the same construction, the metal appears to be the same, the mounting is the same, the strength of the brackets are the same, and the same shape and everything, why go for the more expensive one? Is there anything that this cheaper one, again $71 is the cheapest, any problem with that? This one actually on their page on Amazon has a cross section showing their powder coating and the levels and the steel and the coatings underneath, saying how really great it is. This one has something similar, and I don't know about Body Armor 4x4, but again, it's a different type of coating. But my next big suspicion on these, again, $71 versus $94 for the pair, my big suspicion is that these are exactly the same thing, just marketed by different companies. Now, it really makes me suspect that if these two are the same, not only the way they were packaged, with this yellow band here being taped up over it came exactly the same, but they have identical instructions. So here's your little instruction booklet on how to put these in. Again, this is a MaxMate, pictures and everything. And here's the instruction booklet for the TAC, exact same instruction booklet, exact same pictures, and they all come with this same little set of hardware right there. And oddly enough, even the Body Armor 4x4 comes with this same set of hardware, you know, the longer bolts and the washers there, even though their instructions, which are basically just take the old taillights off, pop these covers on and put them back on. There's no really more detail than that or even any photos. It says to reuse the factory hardware. It still gives you new hardware here. So I'm wondering what that's for. Anyway, based on price alone, if these two are exactly the same, why don't I just go with the cheaper one? Why would I spend over $20 more for what has got to be the same thing? I have no doubt about it, looking at what you get. What is interesting about these two, the MaxMate and the TAC, is that on the Amazon ratings, one has fairly high ratings and one has fairly low ratings, saying that they're crappy quality, don't fit, and that sort of stuff. When again, as we can see, they're exactly the same product. With the Body Armor 4x4, I'm thinking it's exactly the same product and structure. The only difference is that coating. So do you want to pay from the cheaper one here? Do you want to pay an extra, what, $45 for the coating? Is it worth it? I guess I don't know, unless I put both on and drove them around for a couple of years. But since they all appear to be about the same, I'm going to try to put the cheapest one on and see how that one works. I think of the three, that's the better idea, and then these two can easily get returned to Amazon. And here's how the new hardware compares to the stock bolts there. Also a 10 millimeter bolt. They don't have this little built-in flat part like a washer here, but then there's the washer that's included. So anyway, that's what these will say to put in instead of your factory bolts, except for the Body Armor 4x4, which says use the factory bolts, even though it includes this extra set of hardware that looks just like this. The point is that this little tab should go inside and catch against the inside of this the taillight assembly, and that's going to kind of hold it on right there in the front. Anyway, so that's really the main thing to do. There's not much more to it here, and then bolt it back on. Now, one of the complaints, at least for one of these brands here, was about it harming your paint or wearing away your paint here. And this little tab right here is designed to go right here on this side of the tail light lens. And it's just in putting it in, I noticed a little bit of white right there. A little bit of white. So it looks like it was actually rubbing against my paint. So you can actually see that there. Rubbing against the paint a little bit, and it had scratched off a tiny bit. And that just might be because there's a kind of a rough edge right here that hadn't been sanded down very well before it was powder coated from the welding. So that is certainly a possibility there. So what I decided to do was to take a bit of black electrical tape and wrap it around this part of the tab here to get a softer surface, and maybe, at least in this case, cover up that rough, unsmoothed down area so it wouldn't scratch the paint anymore. Anyway, so the paint now is contacting this area of the black tape instead of the metal, and I think that might work a bit better for us. Then there's one on. Honestly, the toughest part was getting it kind of pushed back in and lining everything up with the new taillight guard on it. I decided to use the new hardware. So there's the new bolt and the washer right there, even though I don't really think it's necessary. But there it is on. I mean, it is pretty sturdy on there. This little tab or little clip that grabs on right here is going to hold it in very securely. I mean, I can grab it and kind of wiggle my whole truck a little bit. So that's going to be sturdy on there. And there was some metal creaking as I screwed it all in here, but it is nice and tight. And you know, certainly looks okay. And for what a taillight guard should do, I'm guessing it will definitely do the job. And of course the big question here is, when I close the gate, is there any problem? So, no problem there. Doesn't appear to rub or touch or make any contact. So just open this up. So, I think this will work just fine. If you're looking for taillight guards, from what I can see, they're all going to be the same. All the same design. They're going to go on the same way. The thickness of the metal is all the same. And I've heard some people talk about having to bend these tabs here. They were sticking out a bit, but when you bolt them in and you get them in nice and tight, that's going to kind of bend them in a bit. So I don't think you need to bend them. You may have to, but I didn't. I just put them in, and then as the bolts go in, and that'll put them where they need to go. So why not choose the cheaper option? Because they're really going to be all the same. The toughest part, as I say, was just pushing this back in with everything. And as I pulled it out, I'm thinking you actually don't need to pull out the whole assembly all the way. Just pull it out enough to where you can slip this tab over the lip there, and that's all you need. You don't actually need to completely remove the thing, as most of the instructions would tell you. And that's what I did here. I just popped off the whole assembly this much, and I was able to slide this guard on from on top, and then get that little bracket there where it needed to go. Actually, I did that and then forgot about the tape, took it off and put the tape on. So I'm thinking wrapping the electrical tape just right around here is just a nice little protection, because this will be contacting your paint right there on this rear quarter panel. So, you know, some little soft guard or some type of edge or something like that with adhesive to it would be nice if they had done that, but they didn't. This will all just be whatever the finish is. So a little bit of tape, and that should help you out right there. Maybe that extra little bit of tape pushes it out some, but this bottom part was kind of tough to push back in where it needed to go. So I just had to kind of apply firm pressure on it to get the holes to line up before I put in the bolt there. But yeah, just kind of push that in until you see it look good, and then while you're pushing in, you can get that bolt started, so no problem there. So there we can see both of them on. And again, they fit just fine. There's the look there. Look good, fit well, they're nice and sturdy. They're going to do the job pretty much that any tail light guard is going to do. So why spend more than you have to? Now, one thing I did notice is that after they were on, there appears to be a bit more of a gap right here between the sheet metal and the actual tail light assembly. So if you look right here, of course this little tab that holds on is going to space it out a little bit. So you've got this kind of little bit of a gap right here. It's not very noticeable, but it is there. And I guess it means that this is not sealed up as much as it was. But you know, there it is. I kind of wonder, did this little mounting tab here have to go on right here? There's a lot of space, right, empty space down here that, you know, it could have hooked onto around this area and not giving you that increased width there to give you a gap against the body. But remember, all the ones I've seen, they're going to be all the same. So they're all going to go on the same way, they're all going to hold on the same way, and this is what you get. So, as I said, not too bad. If you get the cheaper ones, the price is right, and they should look good and be somewhat functional. Hope you like this, and hope it helps if you want to do taillight guards on your own.